It's story time. Welcome guys to the Ecom Freedom YouTube channel. My name is Josh. I'm the head of Shopify here at Ecom Freedom. Now in this video, I wanted to do something of like an introduction. I want to walk you guys through my personal journey, where I was when I got started with e-commerce, why I wanted to jump into it, and where I am today, and what are my goals for the future as well. The goal of this video, the purpose of the video is actually just to show you guys, well, any regular person, which is me, right? I'm just some regular dude from Australia, can go and make e-commerce a success and make it a full-time income, right? And that's what I want to show you guys. And I think that's the purpose of Ecom Freedom as a company. Let me walk you guys through where I started. This is 2015. I was working as a chartered accountant. I had already by this point gone through 6 years of college or university, and another 2.5 years of that actually being a postgraduate certification course, which allowed me to become a chartered practicing accountant, or a CPA. At this point, 7 years ago, I am 23. One of the young accountant, right? Working hard. I think my daily hours were something like getting to the office around 7:30 and then leaving at around 8:30. We were working for a pretty mid-sized accounting firm in Australia, Sydney, and I was getting paid a decent amount, or what I thought was a decent amount back then. I was getting paid about 80,000 Australian dollars, and it wasn't too bad, right? But I wasn't happy. So another photo here showing you about us going on corporate retreats and all that kinds of stuff. This was my team back then. But let me just tell you guys, I was not happy, right? I was working, insane hours, what I thought was insane hours, or what felt like insane hours, because I wasn't working on my own business, or I wasn't working for something that really made me feel like I was doing something good or doing something of value, right? So around this time, I was like, hey, look, I want to jump out. I want to jump into my own entrepreneurship game, because honestly, I was probably my most unhappiest at this time. I was drinking a lot. I was really kind of just trying to escape as much as possible and escape the 9 to 5, right? Looking forward to the weekends and just kind of going through the motions, right? But I was really just living for the weekends. I was really unhappy with just how things were going in my life. We had decent savings and all that kind of stuff, but it just wasn't fulfilled, right? I wasn't building anything of my own. I was building a career, but at the end of the day, it resulted in me working from very early in the morning till very late at night, having very little time for the things that I wanted to do, right? So this is what I wanted to show you guys, a little bit of, this is where we were at. Now, ever since then, since 2015, I moved out and I started working in my family business, right? My parents are entrepreneurs as well. And because I had a decent amount of experience in the corporate accounting world, I jumped into that world and really kind of dived into entrepreneurship, right? I was handling their books, fixing up corporate structures, just making sure that, we were doing the best that we could for tax minimization and all that kinds of boring stuff, right? But I still wasn't that happy. I was still working with my parents, and it wasn't something that I wanted to do. I kind of stepped in to, a role that was, kind of made for me, and it wasn't mine, right? I never felt like it was mine. So it was still during that time, I was very unhappy. I was still trying to escape, living for the weekend and all that kinds of stuff. And that was when e-commerce kind of jumped in. I think 2015, 2016, this is where e-commerce really started to boom. The whole idea of drop shipping and all that kinds of stuff, that was all there. I failed a lot, right? I wanted to jump into it. I saw ads from people like my good friend Dan. I still remember the ad that I saw. He was on this clear kayak in the middle of the ocean, and then he had his MacBook, and I was like, what the heck is this guy doing? But nonetheless, I was like, maybe that's what I want, right? That's the freedom that I want, just to have that choice, that ability to even go and have that and make that a reality. I jumped into e-commerce. I didn't want to do, at the time I had a very poor mindset in terms of I didn't want to invest into certain things. Heck, I didn't even invest into the stock market or real estate at that point, right? So I had a very poor mindset. At that time, I didn't want to learn. I just went and consumed content on YouTube for whatever it was at the time. And I failed a lot, right? I failed a lot, and I got to the point where I was so desperate. I think I got into about $7,000 or $10,000 of credit card debt after paying, for mentors who kind of led me the wrong way, who didn't really help me out, didn't really teach me how to do marketing or e-commerce, right? So there was a lot of lessons there. I got hurt a lot from this game. It wasn't until, I started to really invest into my education, really taking responsibility for my own learning, investing my money into education, investing back into myself, right? So that's when I finally jumped into Dan's course. I remember the guy on the kayak in the middle of the ocean holding a MacBook, that image just stuck with me. So I jumped in, and I jumped straight into the mentorship calls. I was in Australia, but the calls were in the United States, like the time zone, right? I think it's Eastern Standard Time. So I actually had to wake up at 2 or 3 a.m. and attend the calls. It was like a 1 hour, 2 hour call, and then go to work after that. And during that time, I was just like, I remember grinding my ass off. I really was struggling, but I really wanted it. I really wanted to build my own thing. That's when I started to really gain some success. I just jumped into a dropshipping, I created a dropshipping store, a branded one product store, and I thought it did pretty well, right? I was doing about 50,000 per month. I'm selling baby mats, right? It's funny enough. And I have my own video on my own YouTube channel showing the product and why I stopped and all that kind of stuff. So if you want to watch that, by all means, go ahead and have a look at my own YouTube channel. But for the purpose of this video, I want to show you guys, okay, so those were my failures, right? $10,000 in credit card debt, really struggling, really not being able to make this jump or leap of faith of like, okay, how can I make this difference? How can I make this work? What's going on here? And it wasn't until I jumped into those mentorship calls and really took responsibility for my own actions that it really started to click. So when everything started to click, right, that was around, let's say I was failing around 2017, 2018 or so, around 2018, 2019, around that period there, that's when things really started to change. Okay, so now that you know a little bit about my past and why I wanted to jump into e-commerce and a few of my failures as well, I want to show you guys and give you guys an idea of what we've been able to achieve ever since that initial failure of dropshipping and jumping into the e-com game. Currently in 2022, at the time of this recording, I am currently in London. My wife and I, we've been traveling around since January or February, of 2021. We moved to the United States to work on our businesses and to be closer to the whole Ecom Freedom team. All right, we were there for 6 months on a visitor visa or a business visa. And then after that, we had to leave, right? But during that time, there was this crazy mess of the vid, right? And in August, we couldn't go back home to Australia. So as a result, from August till now, January 19th, we've been traveling around Europe. We've been to multiple countries in Italy, Spain, Switzerland, France, now London, right? Croatia, Turkey, I'm losing track, right? But we've been to a lot of countries and we've been traveling for a long period of time, but we can only do this through e-commerce, right? And I want to show you guys now what kind of brands I'm involved with and what I am able to do now that I've learned all of these marketing skills from my whole e-com journey. So currently we are in 5 different brands, and I currently consult with 3 other businesses, local businesses, which are owned by my family group. As you can see here, and I'm going to go through and show you guys the actual Shopify breakdowns, but if you can see here, over the span of ever since that failure, right, back in 2018, we have generated about $4.8 million in overall revenues. Now, if we take, we average out about 20 to 30% of margins, right? So let's just take an average of that and do that. So overall profits has been about 1.2 million over since we had those initial failures with our dropshipping store, right? So not bad, but by no means are we, am I content with this. We are pushing so that each of these brands will do at least $1 million this year, right? So we have a plan to do at the very minimum about $5 million this year. Okay, so now let's go through and talk about each of these brands one by one. Okay, so brand number one is in the pet niche. My wife and I, back in 2018, we went to a convention. We saw the power of actually creating your own product. So we dove into the rabbit hole there. We actually saw a product in the pet niche and was like, oh, this is doing pretty well. It's doing about $50,000 per month. And at the time, that was a lot for us, right? So we were like, okay, cool. Let's jump into this and let's see what we can do. So we went through the whole process of creating our own product, patenting it, getting samples back and forth, going back and forth from our suppliers in China, I think 4 or 5 times. It was nuts, right? But it all paid off. When we launched in about 2019, let me just quickly show you. This is the brand right here. And you can see here that around December 2019 was the first month that we launched in. You can see here that all of this is legit because all of this is interactive. You can't fake this, right? And yeah, 2019 was when we launched, okay? So ever since this brand launched, we have always had inventory issues, right? This business honestly was born amidst COVID, right? It's a COVID baby, essentially. But you can see here that ever since launching, we've done about $658,000 of sales. Over here in Shopify, and also we sell on Amazon as well. So you can see here that overall on Amazon, we've made about $189,000, 461. And the results aren't even that crazy anyway, so just take my word for it, yeah? So that's that, right? So overall, brand number one, right? Since starting in 2019, we've made about $847,000, right? So not bad, pretty happy with it because this is our baby. We have patented it, we've developed it, we've been in the, really been in the, the trenches with this one, right? Now, brand number two, this is in the gifting niche. This is a brand that I run through in the Ecom Freedom Shopify blueprint. So if you guys are interested into seeing me pull back the curtains and going through this brand, I would highly recommend you guys to go down in the comment section below, in the description, and go check out the link if you're interested. And I'd love to show you guys. Now, this brand is in the gifting niche, like I said, and this is the Shopify dashboard, right? And you can see here that we started in 2020, right? So it's around the same time, same kind of COVID baby kind of thing, right? 2020, and it really wasn't getting off the ground until about August 2020 when we did about $18,000 of sales with a 9 times return. So we're very happy with that. But ever since 2020, we've amassed about $806,000. Currently, finally hitting 6-figure months after this, and pretty happy with it, right? So like I said, link in the description below if you want to check it out. Now that was brand number two. Now let's go into brand number three. So this one is a little bit of a behemoth. So there's 2 arms and 2 sectors here, 2 pillars. The first one is Australia. Australia is where it was all born, right? So if you can see right here, right here, you can see here that and this is all legit again, we're consistently hitting 6-figure months with this brand, and yeah, we did about $1.8 million ever since the start. So we started this brand about 2019 again as well. Like you could see here, nothing was really big, nothing really happened, but from 2019 September, that's when things really started to pick up, and it actually wasn't until June 2020 when we started to hit some pretty decent figures. So we were in Australia originally, and then we eventually moved into the United States. So in 2020, what was that, in June, right, we did about $40,000 of sales, right? Overall, pretty happy with this, right? But we wanted to get our feet into the United States, and because of supply chain issues though, we had to actually stop the store around October, November of 2021. So with that brand specifically, we've done about $2.4 million, and very happy with that as well. Brand number 3 is in the sporting niche, okay? Now, brand number 4 is in the jewelry fashion niche, and you can see here that this one was again started around the 2020. So in the last kind of 2 years, I've been very busy kind of getting everything out off the ground, right? We've been able to do this and doing pretty decent, 400,000 without much, handling of this, all my graphics team kind of handle this, right? But 400,000, and this year we plan to do least $1 million. We were revamping everything. Okay, so brand number 5 is the business that I was kind of thrusted into after I left my corporate accounting job. This was back in 2016, right? And this was a business-to-business brand, right? We were selling cosmetic goods to other beauty salons, right? And we eventually started our direct-to-consumer channel in, I think it was in March 2020. You can see here, January 2020, there's not much. Trust me, it was about March 2020 when things started to kind of take off, right? So ever since then, we've done about 322, and right now we're moving and migrating this off of WooCommerce. This is currently on WooCommerce and WordPress. We're gonna move it all onto Shopify as well, because that's where my specialty lies. As you can see here, guys, there are 5 different brands, right? Multiple different sales channels, right? And overall done about $4.8 million with about 1.2 net profit reinvested back into all of the businesses for inventory, ad costs, paying for staff, all that kind of stuff. So, but I just wanted to show you guys this because I think it's important to go through and prove to you guys that a regular Joe, just like me, right? A regular accountant from all the way in Australia can make something of this if you really put your mind to it. Now, I would highly encourage you guys to, if you guys have any doubts, to first of all quench those, get rid of those, right? Because that's going to be the biggest hurdle that you need to jump over. After that, it's all about just learning and reinvesting back into yourself. Right, so I hope you guys enjoyed this one. I really wanted to show how just a regular guy can go ahead and make e-commerce his full-time income and his job and career. So with all that being said, guys, that is everything for the video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Make sure you comment down below. Let me know what you thought about it. Also, like and subscribe. I'll also see you guys in the next one. Bye for now.